Good morning, students. In continuation of the topic nature and scope of environmental studies, in third lecture I am going to focus on biotic and abiotic components of the environment. As I already give you the brief idea about these components, we have studied the biosphere. So ecosystem, which includes these both factors, one is abiotic means non-living part of a ecosystem, and biotic factor which involves the living part of a ecosystem. It involves plants, animals and the microbes, and non-living components which involves number of factors like soil, temperature, water and many more. So again, in brief, biotic factors which are related with the biological components. It may be a plant, it also involves the animals and different microbes which are bacteria, archaebacteria, fungi as well as the protista. And abiotic factors which are with a number of factors. One is air that can interact with these abiotic factors, salinity, then another one that is a soil, temperature, light, water, minerals, soil pH as well as the humidity. So both these factors are interrelated to each other. We will go in detail first for the biotic component. No doubt already I have discussed that it involves plant, animals and the microbes. So there is again a chronology with respect to these biotic components. Plants, which are also known as the autotrophs. Autotrophs means they can produce their own food material. Obviously they are producers because they can produce their own food material. We cannot produce our food. Okay, so here the few representatives are given over here. They can produce the food, and that food can be consumed by the animals which are heterotroph, means they can depend for their nutrition on the plants. That's why they are at the second level of this ecosystem, or at the chronological levels they are nothing but the consumers, because they can consume the food which is produced by the producer or the plants. And third one is an important factor of this biotic community, and they are the microbes like bacteria, viruses and the fungi. So they are saprotrophs because they are dependent on the their food as well as the nutrition on the dead and decaying organisms or the dead and decaying components. Either this may include the leaf, dead leaves or dry leaves or rotten leaves, or sometimes the dead and decaying body of the animals. Okay, so they are the decomposers. They may involve fungi, bacteria, or sometimes worms are also there. They can decompose this material. But one thing I missed that one, that is consumers. They are again classified into the three groups. One is that is herbivores, which is one example is given over, that is a cow. It is herbivore because it is directly eating the plant material. Okay, so here in chronological levels of the ecological system, these cows are dependent on the plants, so they are herbivore. They can eat only the plants. So omnivores is at above level of these herbivores, so they can eat the other small insects, and sometimes they can eat also the leaf material or the parts of the leaves. And third one, that are the carnivores. So they can eat the other small animals. Okay, and here the example I have given, that is a lion or a tiger. They are nothing but the carnivores. They can eat other small animals but not the leaves. So these are the three components of the biotic strata of the ecosystem: plants, animals, plants which are autotrophs, which are at the producer level, animals which are heterotrophs, they are at the consumer level, and microbes or the saprotrophs, they are at the decomposer level. Again, here in detail about the autotrophs. Auto means the self and tropos means the feeder. That's why they are the producer, because they can produce their own food. Okay. Heterotrophs, hetero means other and trophs mean the feeder, means they can feed the other animals. Normally animals that feed on the other organism. So herbivores are the primary consumers. Second order consumers are the carnivorous animal that prey or feed on the other animals, and third order consumers or the secondary carnivores are the animal that feed on the primary carnivores, and they are the omnivores, as I given the example, that is the lion, and here the bear. Okay. And saprotrophs, sapro means the rotten or dead and the decaying material, trophs mean the feeder. So they are reducers or the decomposers or the osmotrophs. Then in detail about the abiotic components, where air is important for all our life activities as well as the plant activities. So we have to consider, or we have to go in detail for the atmospheric gases, where abundancy of the three gases, that is nitrogen, which is of 78%, oxygen which is of 21%, and other trace gases are of only 1%, which includes argon, carbon dioxide, neon, methane, krypton, hydrogen, as well as the water vapor. But because of the man-made activities, industrialization, urbanization, and different developmental activities, leads to increase in concentration of CO2. And today this is the hot topic, and this is nothing but the greenhouse effect. Last but not the least, another abiotic factor is the soil, which is a base for all growth as well as the development of the plant, on which the other parts of the ecosystem are dependent. So soil profile is of utmost importance for study. So this is with different horizons, right from O to the R horizons. So first horizon, it is a O horizon, it is upper layer composed of organic material, and it is black brown or dark brown in color due to presence of organic content. Most of the times it includes the leaves, its leaves, stem, as well as the bark, its pieces, dried leaves, dried flower parts are components of the O horizon, and it is nothing but the humus or humic acid content is more over there. A horizon or the top soil is rich in organic material and consists both organic matter and other decomposed material. In combination with the O horizon, it is with few decomposed material. See, but here the top soil is soft and porous, which holds enough water and air, and in this A horizon, germination takes place. Important part of the life of plant, that is germination, which it takes place in this A horizon. It consists of microorganisms like earthworm, fungi, as well as the bacteria, which are useful for the growth. And third one, that is a E horizon, where the nutrient leached from O and A horizon. So these two layers, they are with the organic as well as the inorganic, organic as well as the decomposed material, and leached material is found in this E horizon or elevation variation layer. And this is common in forest areas and has lower clay content, because in E horizon, which is observed more in forest areas, because there are number of trees, large trees are there, climbers are there, and obviously they shed their leaves in different season. That's why this horizon is more common in the forest areas. Next to this is the B horizon, or this is also called as the subsoil. Okay, so this is harder and compact than the topsoil. It contains the less humus, soluble minerals as well as the organic matter. It deposits the minerals and some metal salts like iron oxides. It holds enough water than the topsoil, and as considered, when it is considered with respect to its color, it is light brown due to presence of the clay soil. Next to this, there is a C horizon or regolith, it is also called as a. So it is with maximum stony material is there and made up of a broken bedrock. It is also known as the saprolite. Geological material is present in this zone, which is cemented. And last one, it is R horizon or bedrock. As compared to this C horizon, this R horizon is a compact and cemented layer. So in this layer we can observe different rocks like granite, basalts and limestone. So R horizon is a source of different types of rocks. So this, why there is a need to study this soil profile, because when the soil profile is rich in organic material, that helps for the growth of the plant, and obviously good growth and good nutritional good content of food material is useful for us. That's why soil profile should be maintained, and it should be in its good proportion for balance of the ecosystem. Instead of the soil, and in previous slide we have discussed about the atmospheric gases, number of factors are there. We have considered about the gases. So light is also important, as already I have discussed in brief about the abiotic component, in which light is also important, because plants can prepare their food with the help of only light. Okay, so the visible light is useful for the photosynthesis, and with the help of light and the chlorophylls, plant can prepare their food, and which is useful for the animals as well as the human being for their growth as well as the development. But apart from these three factors, temperature is also important for the growth of plant. Water is also important. We have studied it is in the hydrosphere. Minerals as well as the humidity. So all these factors, abiotic and biotic factors, they are intermingled or interrelated to each other, and they can continue the chain of this ecosystem. So we have to study each and every factor, and we have to work for their conservation. So because of high rainfall in many areas, we can observe the loss of community, or loss of soil layers, or loss of that biodiversity. So We have to work together with the help of these environmentally sustainable activities. Pani Foundation is one example, which is a good initiative for conservation of water. Obviously, a single step towards the sustainable environment can be useful for our mother nature's health, and mother nature health is our health. So protect and save environment and work for the environment. With this, the topic, that is nature and scope of environment, is over. But before concluding or to say thank you, I would suggest each and every students work for the uh, environmentally sustainable activities right from our home. We have to uh, work from the small activity, like our material which is from our kitchen, which is waste material, which are throwing it, we can use that material for preparation of a compost. Okay, instead of throwing and preparing the garbage, we can use it for the different, or which we can convert that waste material into the best material. Vermicompost is one example. Other composts are also there, which can be prepared with the help of different biotic materials, which is of waste matter, but we can, with the help of different study and different activities, we can convert that waste into the best material. So I must say, each and every student, this topic, that is environmental awareness, is not only for the exam or not only for the marks, which we have to work for the environment at our home level too. Many of the times we are observing, we are not using electricity very wisely. uh, uh, Television, or we are using mobile, or we are using the electricity in different forms, but if it is not, or we are not using it, we have to shut it, or we have to close it, or we have to off it. Whenever there is a need, we have to use that one. Water, many of the times tap water, we are using that tap water, but most of the times in uh, uh, bathrooms or washrooms, or in wash basin, we are using, we are running that tap water. We need a very small water. We can do number of activities in a very small quantity of water in a very good way. So I must say, each and everyone should think for the environmental friendly activities, that obviously a small step towards the conservation of environment. Thank you.